Welcome to the Alcohol Reset, the podcast that helps you reset your habits, health, and relationship with alcohol without judgment or extremes. If you're looking to cut back, take a break, or just understand how drinking can affect your body and mind, you're in the right place. Each episode brings you science-backed insights on neuroscience, nutrition, and habit change to help you feel better, sleep deeper, and take control on your terms. I'm Mike Hardenbrook, best-selling author, neuroscience enthusiast, and habit change expert. I've helped thousands through my book and podcast to rethink their drinking, and now I'm here to help you do the same. Let's get started. Let's paint a picture. It's 6 o'clock. The day is finally done. Laptop shut. Slack notifications are off. You've been putting out fires all day, or maybe just surviving back-to-back meetings. And you finally sit down, you pour a glass of wine with dinner, when you crack open a cold beer, you take that first sip, and the shoulders drop. It feels routine, right? Harmless, relaxing. But here's the thing that's kind of fascinating. While you're feeling that mental relaxation, your biology is doing something completely frantic. We tend to think about alcohol's effects in the long term, the damage over years, or we just think about the headache the next morning. But the reality is so much more immediate. While your brain is checking out, your gut is checking in. And not in a good way. So your internal ecosystem down there, it starts shifting. And I'm not talking about a change that happens over days or weeks. I'm talking about biological shift that starts within hours. And that's really what I want to get into today. Because it's not just about digestion. This system, when it gets rattled, it influences your mood, your immune response, your cravings, even your anxiety. If you've ever felt that weird, just off feeling the day after a couple of drinks, what people call anxiety, this is for you. We're going to unpack what happens in that one drink scenario, why the gut reacts so fast, and most importantly, how to support your body without needing, perfect willpower. So first things first, when I say gut, what do you picture? Most of us just think of the stomach, like it's just the food processor, right? Food goes in, gets churned up, and that's it. But that's a massive oversimplification. It's just wrong. You have to think of it more like an entire ecosystem. The microbiome. It's home to trillions of bacteria. But even more important, it's the headquarters for your body's defense department. And here's the stat that just blew my mind when I first learned it. About 70%, 70, of your entire immune system lives in your gut. 70%. Which makes total sense if you think about it from like an evolutionary perspective. The gut is the main entry point for the outside world, everything you eat and drink. So of course the body stationed most of its army right there at the border. It's constantly scanning friend or foe, nutrient or poison. And then there's how you feel, your mood. We always think of mood as a brain thing. It's all in your head. But a huge portion of your serotonin, that's the chemical that makes you feel stable and content, is actually influenced by your gut. So you have this command center, regulating immunity, hormones, inflammation, and mood. The main point here is the gut is connected to everything. When it gets disrupted, your whole body feels it. And this is where alcohol enters the chat. So let's get into the mechanics, what's actually happening in those few hours after that one drink. Let's talk about the breach. Okay, this is a little technical, but stick with me because this is the why behind everything. Imagine your gut lining is like a castle wall. The cells are the bricks. And in a healthy gut, those bricks are cemented together by something called tight junctions. Great name, right? Does exactly what it says. They are tight, they act as gatekeepers, they let the good stuff through. Nutrients, water, and they keep the bad stuff out. Toxins, bacterial fragments, you get the idea. But alcohol, and one of its byproducts, acetaldehyde, it acts like a solvent on that cement. It causes the release of a protein that basically tells those tight junctions to open up. So the wall is breached. This is what people mean when they talk about leaky gut. The gates are open. And things that are supposed to stay safely inside the gut start slipping through the cracks into your bloodstream. We're talking about something called endotoxins, which sounds ominous because they are. It's basically bacterial debris, little fragments of cell walls. To your immune system, remember, the army stationed right outside the wall. This looks like a full-scale invasion, so picture it. You're at dinner, feeling relaxed, enjoying that glass of wine. While your immune system is spotting this debris in your blood and launching an immediate inflammatory attack, it is shouting, "Fire!" The body enters a state of emergency while your brain is trying to unwind. That disconnection is what's so wild, and that's just the structural damage. At the same time, there's a chemical shift happening with the bacteria themselves. This is dysbiosis. So in a healthy gut, you have balance. You've got the good guys like lactobacillus and bifidobacterium, the peacekeepers. Alcohol hits them hard. It's antimicrobial, kind of like hand sanitizer for your insides, but it's selective. Those beneficial populations drop. And at the same time, the opportunistic, less helpful bacteria, they seize the moment. They start to multiply and become dominant. And the timeline here is the key. This isn't after 10 years of heavy drinking. No. Research shows this shift from a balance to a stress state can happen after a single evening of heavy drinking. So you have a leaky wall and a sudden drop in the bacteria that keep things calm. Which brings us to the next morning and how you actually feel. Let's talk about anxiety, that fear, that doom. For the longest time, I thought it was just psychological. Oh no, did I say something stupid one day? But there is a very real biological driver for that anxiety. And it comes down to the gut-brain axis. Think of it like a superhighway, a direct communication line between your gut and your brain. A big part of that is the vagus nerve. Your gut is constantly sending status reports to your brain. And when it's inflamed because of that leaky wall in the immune response, it sends distress signals right up that highway. So how does the brain interpret that? It interprets inflammation as a threat, as stress. So you wake up feeling anxious, on edge, not because you did anything wrong, because your internal ecosystem is screaming that something is wrong. That doom feeling. So it's a direct text message from an inflamed microbiome, which is actually kind of a relief, isn't it, to know it's a mechanism, not just the character flaw. You're not losing your mind, you're experiencing neuroinflammation. And it explains the other stuff too, the brain fog, inflammation, the intense sugar cravings. That's the opportunistic bacteria taking over. They want quick energy, they want sugar. So that desperate need for a donut, it's a biological demand. Okay, I know this all sounds pretty terrifying. I can hear you thinking, do I need to become a monk? Let's take a breath. The goal here is awareness, not panic. The gut is incredibly resilient. It wants to heal. One night doesn't ruin you forever. The tight junctions can retighten. The bacteria can repopulate. The real risk is repeated exposure. It's keeping the gut in that constant state of inflammation day after day. So let's assume you're going to drink occasionally. How do you mitigate the damage? It's not about willpower. It's about strategy. Bolstering your defenses. First, food. We've all heard it. Don't drink on an empty stomach. But here's the biological why. You want fiber-rich foods, vegetables, legumes. Fiber is literally food for your good bacteria. You're feeding the peacekeepers before the war starts. Next, habits. Hydration is non-negotiable. Your gut lining needs water to maintain its protective layer. Hydrate before, during, and after. And sleep. This is huge. Your gut does most of its repair work at night. If you drink and then get 4 hours of terrible sleep, you're robbing your gut of its repair window. You have to prioritize that recovery rest. All right, now let's talk about some specific nutrients. One compound that kept coming up in the research was NAC, N-acetyl-L-cysteine. Here's why it's a heavy hitter. To neutralize the toxins from alcohol, your body uses its master antioxidant, glutathione. But you have a limited supply. It's like a fuel tank. Drink too much and you burn through it fast. NAC is a precursor to glutathione. It helps you refill the tank. Taking it about 30 minutes before you drink can help make sure your liver has the raw materials it needs. It's not a free pass, but it's reinforcement. Then there's milk thistle. It helps protect liver cells and reduces inflammatory signals. The liver and gut are neighbors. If one is stressed, it adds to the load on the other. Supporting one helps both. So, to bring it all home, what's the big takeaway here? It's not that you need to be afraid of a beer. Fear is a terrible motivator. The takeaway is awareness. Understanding that your body responds fast within hours. The next time you feel off after drinking, the fog, the anxiety, don't just spiral into guilt. Don't think you're weak or broken. Recognize it for what it is. It's biology. It's your gut talking to you. When you understand the mechanism, you can stop beating yourself up and start taking care of yourself. You reach for the water, you eat the fiber, you get the sleep, you work with your body. So here's a thought to leave you with. The next time you're out and you notice how you feel the next day, pay attention. Is that sudden mood dip just random? Or is it a direct message from an inflamed microbiome that you now know how to read? It put the control back in your hands. And that's a pretty good place to be. Thanks for listening. Stay curious. We'll talk soon. That's a wrap for today's episode. If you got something out of this, do me a quick favor. Leave a rating and review on whatever podcast platform you're listening on. It helps keep the show going and would mean the world to me. Got ideas, comments, or questions? Shoot me an email at mike@trycloud9.com. I'd love to hear from you. And if you're looking for extra support, check out Cloud9, makers of Daily Restore, a once-a-day supplement to support your body from alcohol's effects, and Rise and Unwind AM/PM, a 24-hour combo to curb cravings, balance mood, and improve sleep when taking a break. Go to trycloud9.com and use the code PODCAST to save 15% on your next order. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next time.